Yo, how's it going, everyone? This is Mitchell Mander here, and welcome to another review of the Pokemon Journey series. We're covering episode 89 in today's review, and this is part 1 of the 2-part Diamond and Pearl special. And this episode was more of a setup, with next week's episode basically being the finale and the remainder of the plot set up in today's episode. So how was the episode overall? Well, before I get into today's episode review, I just want to say if you're new to the channel, you like this type of content, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It'd be pretty awesome if you would do that. So the episode starts off in another dimension with Dialga and Palkia just fighting one another, causing a lot of issues, causing a lot of distortions in space and time. Yeah, a lot of stuff is going wrong in this alternative dimension and in the alternative Sinnoh region. And then we see the other dimensions, Team Rocket. I wonder if they're possibly behind all these issues going on, and especially Dialga and Palkia fighting one another. What a mystery. Anyways, Dawn over here is actually practicing for her next contest. Piplup is being lazy as usual, so Dawn actually reprimands Piplup over here, as Piplup is just being lazy. It seems like this is becoming a recurring issue. But Piplup doesn't like this, gets angry, starts running off, so Dawn chases after it. And as Dawn is catching up to Piplup, another Dawn appears through a gate to another world and takes Piplup. Before Dawn can do anything, the alternative world Dawn disappears along with Piplup into the gate. As a result, Dawn contacts Ash and informs him about what's going on. Professor Sakuragi at the same time also informs them that there's been a lot of Pokemon disappearing in the Sinnoh region. So something like this isn't uncommon. So they all decide to go to the Sinnoh region to figure out what's going on, and Koharu decides to join along with them. Obviously, she's besties with Dawn, so she's obviously going to help out as well. It's nice to see Koharu actually wanting to go out on adventures with Ash and Go. It's pretty nice. But anyways, Ash and the others head to the Sinnoh region. And obviously Dawn's pretty upset, so Ash brings some food to her to cheer her up. And this immediately brings her out of her bad mood. Which, I thought this was a really nice scene. I like that Ash was being nice and thoughtful here. Nice going, Ash. But anyways, they're catching up, but that's when Team Rocket strikes, trying to steal Pikachu, and they easily deal with them. But just then, the other Team Rocket in the other dimension strike. And unlike the Team Rocket we know, this Team Rocket seems to be very competent, as they easily take out Lucario and Inteleon and steal them through the other dimension, which Dawn and Go actually chase after this Team Rocket, and Ash and Koharu are left behind. So Dawn and Go are in the alternative world, though initially they don't think they're in another dimension. They think they're in the same place, just Ash and Koharu are nowhere to be seen. Also, Lucario and Inteleon are gone as well. It seems like Team Rocket over here quickly got away with them. Yeah. But anyways, the first thing they notice that's different here is that the sky has aura in it, which that's not normal, not in the Sinnoh region. So they're still kind of confused as to what's going on. So Dawn's like, hey, let's go back to my house. Maybe we'll figure something out there. So they head to Dawn's house. And it's at Dawn's house that they realize that things are quite different where they're at now. Like, this place, not only is the sky looking weird, there's no flowers, and there's also Pokemon missing. Like, this area, there's just no Pokemon anywhere. And that's when they go into Dawn's house, they go into Dawn's room, and yep, turns out that the Dawn of this dimension actually placed second in the Sinnoh League. Interesting. So this version of Dawn is a Pokemon trainer competing in the leagues and not contests, which I thought that was a pretty neat detail. And that's when Alternative Universe Dawn shows up. And despite being kind of startled for a little bit, she kind of, I guess, accepts that, hey, these people are in my room, whatever. It's my alternative dimension counterpart, so yeah. But anyways, Piplup and Dawn are reunited. And that's when we figure out exactly what's going on here, and it's actually kind of scary. So, it appears that Pokemon are just disappearing, and not just disappearing normally, they're seemingly reversing in age. First, they're forgetting the moves they learned, Then they're going into the pre-evolved states, and then eventually they turn the eggs. And the alternative universe is Dawn, or I don't know how I'm gonna say this because that's kind of awkward. How about we just call her Dawn 2.0? I don't know. Blue Dawn, Purple Dawn, something. But anyways, this version of Dawn's Piplup is basically been turned back into an egg. In fact, a lot of people's Pokemon are eggs now. And because Dawn and Go are in this dimension, there's a good chance that their Pokemon are going to be affected by this, which means our Dawn, her Piplup, is going to be affected as well. It's eventually going to forget its move and eventually turn into an egg. So they kind of got to figure out what's going on here. Now, Go quickly realizes that both time and space are messed up. Obviously, Pokemon are reversing an age and eventually turning back into eggs. And space is messed up because all kinds of gates to both worlds are just opening up, and it's causing a lot of issues. So that's when Dawn realizes that Dialga and Palkia have to be involved in some way, shape, or form. And that's when we move the rest of the episode over back to Ash and Koharu in the normal world. Now, while having a quick conversation on where Go and Dawn went off to, they realize they're in another world, and that Palkia is a Pokemon that could probably bring them to this other world. So Ash and Koharu decide to do some more research on Palkia, so they go to the library in Kennelab City. And while they're there, they run into Cynthia, who just so happens to be there at the same time as Ash and Koharu are researching Palkia. So as they leave the library, Ash and the others are confronted by the Team Rocket from the other world. And I find it interesting here because Cynthia brings out her Garchomp to attack them. And this Meowth actually stands up to Garchomp here. It doesn't get immediately taken out, which shows how dangerous this Team Rocket actually is. And there's this weird, I guess, beam of light. I mean, maybe not a beam of light, but these light particles that are coming out of that dimension. And as Garchomp tries to use another move, it actually ends up forgetting it. This also happens to Pikachu as well, as Ash commands Pikachu to use Thunderbolt, and it immediately forgets how to do this. But that's when Cynthia brings out another Pokemon, and this was a complete surprise to me. She has a Kommo-o, that dragon Pokemon from the Alola region, which I think this is a reference to Pokemon Masters because that's her Pokemon when she has her Signa suit design. I don't know, I thought that was pretty neat. But anyways, she brings this Pokemon out to save Garchomp and Pikachu. So Team Rocket retreat over here, and Ash and Koharu pursue after them as Cynthia tries to stop them, but Ash and Koharu go into the other world. And that's when our Team Rocket actually sees what's going on, and conveniently a gate opens up for them and they go to the other world. So the episode comes to an end with Ash and Koharu in the other world, and Ash ends up running into his counterpart here, Ash 2.0, or Ash Blue, I guess we'll call him, because this is a blue version of Ash. But anyways, that's pretty much where the episode comes to an end. Now overall, I thought this was a pretty nice episode. This episode felt like more of a setup episode, whereas next week's episode is going to have most of the content here. This episode, it just felt like we were just getting set up and just ready for the conclusion of this two-parter arc. But I still found it to be pretty nice. There were some nice references here and there that I thought were pretty cool. Like I liked it when Ash actually brought up the possibility of Dawn's Piplup going through an ultra wormhole. That actually kind of surprised me. I like the fact that Cynthia has the Kommo-o. I feel like that was a reference to Pokemon Masters. I thought that was pretty nice. I thought it was pretty neat that Alternative Universe Dawn, or Dawn 2.0, or Purple Dawn, whatever you want to call her, yeah, she placed second in the Sinnoh League, and that trophy was essentially the silver trophy version of what Tobias got in the normal world, so that was kind of cool, I guess. But I don't know, I just like some little things there. I also like the fact that Go thought that Dawn is like Ash. I thought that was pretty cool. So yeah, there's some pretty nice things sprinkled throughout this episode. Now, one thing I think that next week's episode has to deliver on is Dawn participating in a contest. This was something that a lot of people were disappointed with the two-parter in the summer. We didn't get to see Dawn in a contest. and to see how she actually performs now, or how she does now. That's something that I was mildly disappointed in, but I figured since they announced that there was going to be a 2-parter arc later in the year for when the Diamond and Pearl remakes come out, I figured that they would be saving it for this. And I feel like this week's episode kind of foreshadows that, as Dawn was preparing or doing some prep for an upcoming contest. So hopefully, next week's episode, at the end of it, we get to see this. If not, then yeah, I'll be pretty upset and be alright if that happens. Just saying. Now, one issue I did have with this week's episode was the pacing. I don't know about you guys, but I felt like this episode was way too fast-paced. Like, there was so much stuff going on in this episode, it just felt from scene to scene, things were just going at a rapid pace. Like, there were times where I felt like we really needed to slow down and breathe a little bit. Now, I know when Ash and Kaharu went to the library, and then they met up with Cynthia, things slowed down a bit there, which was pretty nice. But as soon as they walk out of the library, things are back to a rapid pace. And then suddenly, Ash and Kaharu are in the other dimension. So, hopefully next week's episode, things aren't going at such a rapid pace. I am a little afraid that that's what's going to happen and we're getting a rushed conclusion. I hope not. Maybe I'm wrong. But I hope next week's episode delivers and this ends up being a satisfying 2-parter arc within the Journey series. But anyways, guys, that's all I got for this week's episode review. So overall, I thought this was a pretty good episode. I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. And this rating will either go up or down or stay the same. It all depends on next week's episode. So we'll see how that episode goes when it airs next week. But right now, I feel like this episode getting a 7.5 out of 10 seems about right. Just my opinion. But guys, in the comment section down below, post your thoughts. What do you think about this episode? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Let me know what you're looking forward to in next week's episode and what are your expectations for next week's episode. Post your thoughts, and if you're new to the channel, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And guys, have a good day or night wherever you're at, and peace.